What's up, guys? So we know that picking your Amazon product, that's 80% of the battle, right? We pick a bad product, everything else is harder. We pick a really good product, everything else is easier. And it's something we can't settle on, or else we're gonna have a very bad time when it comes to selling on Amazon. So when we're picking our product, do we just wanna follow the data? Do we just wanna see really good numbers, really good metrics, really good opportunity, and then go with that product? Or do we wanna pick something we're passionate about, something we care about, something we know really well, and go that route? Well, to be honest with you, the route you pick could have some severe consequences. So today I'm going to talk about the difference between passion products, data products, which one's best for you, which one is the right answer. That way you have a better chance of success when it comes to picking your winning Amazon product. Before we hop on the screen here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Otherwise, guys, let's get into it. First, let's define what a passion product is, what a data product is. That way you know exactly what I'm talking about. Then we're going to talk about the cons of each, especially passion products, what the downsides are, what the risks are, and go from there. So talking about passion products here, what these are, something you care about, obviously, something you're passionate about. So if you're really into pickleball, this is a great example of that. Essentially ignoring all data to go deep into this passion, something you know the customer with, something you play every day, something you know the ins and outs every day. Another example would be health, right? So a lot of people are into health. So maybe that's starting a supplement, some type of additive. This goes on and on, right? This could be football, this could be soccer, this could be surfing, this could be badminton, this could be checkers, this could be chess. You understand what I'm saying? Your hobbies, something you really care about, something you have more knowledge about than other people just because you're semi-obsessed with it. Versus data products where they're boring, right? They're boring products. We're just following data. We see 186 reviews here, 77 reviews, 3.9, so a little high there, 1442, 200 plus sales, 400 plus sales. We go up here, 2,300 in search volume per month, meaning 2,300 people are searching this per month. So we're just looking at the metrics for this product. So it could be very boring, something that doesn't really have the opportunity to have passion around unless you're really into fake plants. You know, you could argue that, okay, I'm really into home decor. I'm a house decorator or a home designer, whatever it may be. Well, to actually fit that passion in your brand of what you're selling, you would need couches, tables, chairs, a whole product line to actually be in that passion. So when I mean data products, I mean, we're just looking at the data for things like this. If they fit, we're just looking to make money. We don't really care about it. It's all about the bottom line. Now, going back to pickleball, for example, for a passionate product, let's talk about the cons here. Cons are extremely competitive markets most of the time, very saturated. You can have some very big brands in here, and it's a lot harder to break through. So we see 9,000 bought here. So there's a lot of money here, but there's also a lot of reviews, a lot of competition. You get higher price competition, meaning that people are driving the price down, whether that's brands, manufacturers, other sellers, all that good stuff here. You also have to understand too, when something's this big, you're not only competing for traffic on Amazon, you're competing for traffic outside of Amazon, meaning their Instagram, their TikTok, their social media, their ads. It's all driving awareness to their brands that is then trickling down to Amazon as well. So right there alone, they have a lot more momentum and traffic capitalizing on that to boost their rankings on Amazon. So you have to take that into consideration as well. A lot of times passionate products, especially in the health industry, but this could be a lot of industries, they're a bit more complex to manufacture, right? So this is something you probably wouldn't go to China to manufacture. This is something you want to manufacture in the US, Canada, Europe. Most people don't want to ingest stuff that's from China. There's a whole debate there, but made in the USA goes a long way for supplements, which again, very expensive, very hard to make, very hard to find manufacturers for, and gets a bit more complicated there. Now let's talk about some cons for data products, okay? You have the ability to follow the money, all that good stuff there. You have the ability just to follow the bottom line. But at the end of the day, they're boring. You cannot care about them. Maybe you don't do enough research about it to actually know the product in and out, which could give you a disadvantage when it comes to your competition. Obviously, if you're not passionate about it, you don't know the customer, you don't know what they want. You have to kind of research a lot to get there, and it might still be missing a few holes since you don't use this product yourself. Also, since it's more boring, it's hard to build a brand around, right? So if you want to build something you want to exit or have, 20, 30 products for, which you can in this industry, but one of the huge rewards, something like that, is building a social media following, building a brand, building a website, building something people care about. In more boring industries, that's harder to do. So probably what you've been waiting for, which one should you do, right? We're talking about all the negatives here. Let's talk about some pros, and let's talk about which one's right for each person. Let's talk about even maybe combining these as well. Because depending on your situation, if you pick the wrong one of these, the wrong avenue, you're gonna be in some trouble. You're gonna have some huge downsides. So we gotta think about this before we pull the trigger. So using data products as the first example here, let's talk about who this is right for. This is for the person who maybe doesn't have any hobbies, maybe sees that they don't really care about anything. I know those people exist. I know that sounds kind of lame and a little bit sad, but I'm kind of in that realm too, where I don't care about a lot of things. There's certain things I do really care about, but at the end of the day, I don't have any really like super niched hobbies, anything like that. So if you don't care about anything here, as well as people who have a very limited budget to start this, only care about cash flow, only want to be behind the scenes, and don't want to be front facing in their business at all, data-driven products are probably for you, right? So think of it this way. If you never want to start a social media, a brand page, a brand website, which you can still do a brand website, but without being front facing, you're going to have a little bit of disadvantage to actually get brand awareness out there. You know, there's things you could do, influencers, all that good stuff. But again, the more boring the product, the less influencers will care to actually do those products because it's bad content to make. So if you fall in the realm of, I don't care, I just want cash flow, I don't want to be front facing, I don't really care about a brand, even though you can still build a brand around it, you care less about the brand. I have 5K, 10K, maybe 15K, 20K in the bank. I'm very limited here. I just want this to be a side hustle, maybe get to 5, 10K a month in profits. Obviously, you can take it a lot further, but that's kind of your first initial goal. It's not, go make $1 billion or go home type thinking. Then data-driven products are probably right for you because we can sit there and hunt, be super analytical, find something in the wheelhouse that does 10 to 30K a month in revenue, has lacking competition, do our own research, try to put a superior product on there, build around that, find a little boring niche that we don't really care about, but build multiple variations for, multiple product lines, and just think about dominating our keywords on Amazon and then walking away with some cash in hand per month. So if that's you, stay in this lane. But also if you feel like you're in a mix, just hold on. I'm going to explain kind of that scenario. But first, let's go to passion products. Let's just say you're super into something, you're ride or die into that field, whether that's, again, pickleball or whatever it may be. You know who you are. If that's your case, I've had plenty of clients. It's like, no, I'm doing only this product. This is what I care about. Even if the data doesn't match up, I don't care, which is fine. Like some of the best brands have come from that. Honestly, the most upside comes from that, but also the most risk. So I want to explain to you, if you're in that wheelhouse, what type of person you kind of have to be to achieve that. One, you have to be extremely okay with risk. If you're going to bigger markets that do, this one does 9,000 units per month here. What is that per month in revenue? 9,000 times 30, 231,000 per month here. Roughly, obviously just using helium-10 here. So these are rough numbers. So meaning if we have 9,000 purchases, say each paddle cost us, $10, just for easy math there. That's $90,000 per month in inventory you need to front up to kind of get to the top level of Amazon. That's a lot of risk. That's a lot of growth. Obviously, when you first start, you don't need that many, but to be the top bee's knees of that market, you need to outsell them on, a basic thinking of the algorithm on Amazon. You outpace them on units per month. So Amazon will put you ahead. Obviously, it's keyword dependent. There's a lot of other factors in there, but that's the basic thinking of it. So say you're getting 3 months of inventory to do this, that's $270,000 of inventory right there that you got to put up. Not thinking about ads, not thinking about anything else there, just inventory. How do you do that if you don't have that money? Maybe you have 50K, 60K, 30K, I'm not sure. Well, you have to be front facing. You have to build a personal brand. You have to work with influencers. You need to get your brand out there to kind of get more of an organic reach for your product to build that around, right? That's why when we go to these huge markets, it's all about the brand. Unless you just want to win the price war, which, when you have 10% margins, that's not very fun to do. So if you want to slowly build this up, you're going to have to be playing pickleball every day on Instagram or YouTube, doing lessons. There's 1,000 ways you could do comedic stuff on Instagram about pickleball. You could do skits and then show off your brand, right? Have the link in the description. And that takes a while to build, right? 6 months to 12 months to 18 months just to get social media going. So it's a long game. This is a very long game to break into markets like this. And you have to be okay with that, which some people are. Some people kill this and do this very well. Sometimes people find a partner who's really good at the content side while you handle the product side. Some people who hate content will just go hire that content out. They'll find influencers. They'll do collabs. They'll do affiliate programs to have other people make content for them to push traffic to their brand. Now, I think the easiest way, the most cheapest and effective and efficient way to do this is make the content yourself, but a lot of people don't do that. For example, the newest brand that I'm starting, we try to get our Instagram going. I paid about $2,000 a month for someone to come film, post the content. And that took about 6 to 9 months to go from like 600 followers to 10,000 followers. And that was fast. I was blown away of how fast that happened for us. I was prepared for a year to 2 years to kind of build slowly, but that's what it takes in a bigger niche to do it the right way, to do it a way where you're not sinking millions of dollars into capital just to potentially see a return in the distance. You want to bootstrap your traffic, get organic going, start getting some sales with that organic traffic, using that cash flow to then reinvest in the product and grow without going too big in the hole. Again, if you have the capital and you have the skill set, you can just go in the hole and figure it out from there. But it's not a great game to play in my eyes, especially if you're newer. Hopefully that makes sense on the passion product side of things, as far as who that type of person needs to be or you need to be to go into a realm like that and what it takes. Now let's talk about my favorite thing to do, okay? What avenue to pick. And that's the hybrid model, right? So a model that combines data and passion. So say you're really into pickleball, okay? There's a billion, okay, I over-exaggerate, not a billion, but a billion keywords of different things in pickleball. We have pickleball nets at 35,000 searches, balls at 48,000, set at 22,000, shoes at 13,000. So if you're really into something, maybe we go down the list and find a really niche down keyword in that field. Okay, so one of my favorite ways to do it is just like this. I do think this is still a little bit too competitive right here as far as this. So what I'll do is I'll go into Helium 10. If you guys need Helium 10, it'll be a discount code down below in the description. Of course, save money if you're gonna go get it, but obviously Jungle Scout works for this. If you already got Helium 10, don't just go buy new product research software. But we're gonna go into Magnet here, which is the keyword research avenue, and we're gonna type in pickleball here. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're gonna grab all the keywords related to pickleball, and we're gonna use data to analyze what one has the best opportunity. And why I like this avenue so much is because we can still go into our passion products, which is great for longevity, right? Something we care about. We're going to want to keep growing it. We're not going to get bored of it. We're going to feel better about selling this because we're so passionate about it. But also we potentially minimize the risk of that massive market of just like pickleball rackets, where we're probably going to get destroyed unless we have hundreds of thousands of dollars and a great skill set. We minimize that and we can build slowly, where we start with $10,000 to $30,000 a month products in that niche we're passionate about, start getting cash flow, start moving up and expanding a product line more aggressive and building it out the right way. So something like this, I would find something maybe like 1,000 search volume to 5,000 here, depending on how aggressive you want to be. This kind of gives me a range of a product that could do $5,000 a month to $30,000 a month. It really just depends. But our range I like here as well. Minimum word count, we want to put like, I don't know, 3. The longer the phrase, the more niche down it's going to be. I love those niche down, very specific keywords. I can handcraft a product just for that long tail keyword, exactly what they're looking for. And it gives me a huge advantage versus more broad products, because if they search in long handle, pickleball, racket, glow in the dark, and some people only have a couple features of that, but I have it right there in my title, showing right there in the image, and I made a product just for that person typing that keyword, I'm going to win 80 to 90% of the time. So here 3, sometimes I do 4 or 5, depending on what I'm doing. Obviously phrases containing, I want to put pickleball in here because I don't want to stray from that niche. I want the phrase to have pickleball in there. Then we're going to go down here, hit apply filters. So we scroll down here, we see search volume 3,600, 13, 16, all in our range here. First thing we see is pickleball accessories for women. So maybe you are a woman that plays pickleball, passionate about pickleball. So we can make a set just for women here. And we see instantly pickleball accessories for women. We have this ball retriever, cool, some other stuff here, but we don't even see pink paddles here. We don't see anything tailored to women. So again, if this kind of fits your passion as well as the data, like instantly, I didn't expect to find something this intriguing right away. We don't see a lot of handcrafted stuff for women here, right? Candles. Okay, but if they're looking for accessories, would that be something that's kind of funny in candles? Pickleball socks, whatever it may be. So maybe we can make a set here that has, a pink ball retriever like this, pink socks, a pink bag here. Again, women, you know what women like better than I do. I have no idea what women want. If I'm ever in that field, I just ask my wife to see what she thinks, and usually she's right 90% of the time as far as the consumer side of things. But we see right here, this keyword has 3,600 searches per month. It looks to be growing as well. Yes, it's growing, so it's trending upwards here. It's going to make great holiday and summer products here, because holidays, it's great for gift giving for someone who really likes pickleball. And then obviously summer, everybody's playing pickleball. Same thing here, pickleball accessories for men. So maybe you make a men's set and a women's set, and all of a sudden you're hitting on 2 different keywords here for that. So again, we don't see any type of accessory set. We see things kind of scattered out. This one's pretty cool. It's a suction cup thing on the bottom here. We see cooling towels selling 1,000 a month, headbands 5K a month. So this gives us real data of what sells. Maybe we just put this together in an accessories kit, one based on men, one based on women, maybe a couple of variations depending on what we pick. That way, women have a couple options of what they really like when it comes to style, design. Same thing for men. We put 4 variations on there, and all of a sudden we have our foot in the door with less risk in the category we're passionate about. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that was helpful, guys. I know I ran through that pretty fast there, but I like the hybrid model if possible. But again, if you fit into one of those 2 categories I talked about as the type of person or the business you want to run, go that route. There's no right or wrong answer here. I know you want me just to tell you what to do, but determine who you are, what you want to be in this business. Pick that route. You can always pivot later, right? So maybe you start with a data product you're bored of, but it gets you some cash flow. That gives you money to go into something you're more passionate about. That's a bit more aggressive. You have the skill set from selling that data product. You have the cash flow from that data product to back up the passionate product that's a little bit more risky. If you're on the passion side, wanting to blow 100, 200 grand to start this business, I do have to put my foot down and say, please try to do the hybrid method there. Start with less risk. That way you have more opportunity. You don't just go all in and then you fail and have 0 reattempts at this thing. I'd rather you start a little less risky. That way if something does happen, which it's a business, anything could happen. There's always risk associated with business. So if something like that happens, at least you didn't go all in on something super competitive on that passion side of things. And so you have another shot at it, which it's business. You're most likely going to have huge hiccups, fail a couple of times, make mistakes, fall down, get up again. But the ability to lower our risk to the downside as much as possible gives you the ability to keep going, right? The people who make it in business are the people who play it for the longest amount of time without giving up. So if this was helpful, guys, subscribe down below for more videos like this. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, have a great day. Bye.